6, 7, 8. Hi, friends. Welcome to another episode of Behind
the Beauty.
I was gonna behind the beauty.
I'm sorry. Okay, let's do it again. Let's do it again. Go ahead, Alicia. Go ahead.
Welcome to Behind
the
Beauty.
We're gonna get it right next time, fam.
Yes, I wasn't ready. We didn't rehearse. I was
not right. It was a pitch perfect moment where I decided to improv, and I didn't got mad at me.
I didn't catch it.
I was there.
Alicia, we didn't rehearse that. We didn't rehearse that.
I'm gonna be prepared next time. I promise.
Hi, everyone. Hi, everyone.
Okay, so I got a little memo.
Before
we do anything, I see that it's somebody's birthday in the house.
Whose birthday is it?
It's Marquita Spurlock's birthday. She's in Houston. She's in Houston. Happy birthday, Marquita!
Happy birthday, Marquita!
Indeed. How exciting. Well, thank you for spending a portion of your evening with us, of your day, of your wherever you are on the globe.
Wherever you are. Houston, Texas.
Okay, good. Fantastic. Well, as you probably already know, fam, we have a special guest tonight who was so gracious in coming on to our show and sharing, and just the enthusiasm really humbled us. Mm-hmm. So, thank you so much again to Lisa J for coming on. Yay! And without further ado, here she is.
Welcome, Lisa.
Hi. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Thank you guys for inviting me on this.
We are so excited.
We are so excited.
Welcome to Behind the Beauty.
Yay! Now you guys are going to tell me how this works. Do I get to see the questions, or are those, how do I see those on this platform?
There's a panel on your right that if you click the comments icon, it will, or on the top bar, I think it's live comments and just our comments.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then
we'll see. I'm scared to touch anything because I don't want to close myself.
Or you can get like a laptop, bring up the live that way. I have my phone here and I've just silenced the live and you can see it that way too.
Okay.
Well, we'll bring up comments as they go, Lisa, too, so you could see what a few people are saying. But I want to say hi to the fam. Hi, Fefi. Hi, Heavy on the Chai. Hi, Molly. Hi, Leah, Tia, Amy.
Hey, everybody.
Hi, Sharon. Hi, Sheila, Lisa, Pam.
Hey, Britt Clark.
Yes.
I
put on Natasha Denona Sammy because I saw some.
She got the Natasha Denona.
She does. I've got the bronze eyeshadow palette on today.
I need to get that. It looks so pretty.
It is gorgeous.
It looks
phenomenal.
Beautiful. Yeah.
We love your makeup. You always look so perfect and pretty.
Very fresh.
Yes.
Always
polished.
Yes.
Oh, thanks. This is like 8 a.m. just coming on here, piling more on.
Right. It's all about the layering. It is.
Yes, it is.
Let me tell you.
That is true.
For sure. Well, we want to get started, but also if there's anything you guys want to ask, or Lisa, if there's anything you want to add, but we're all dying to know because you mentioned you were a former makeup artist.
Yes.
And how did you transition from being a freelance makeup artist to sharing beauty content on social media?
Yeah, so that's it's not really a short answer. Do I have a few minutes?
Yes, you do.
Okay. The floor is yours, friend.
Okay.
Let us know how you got started. Let us know how you got started. Like, let us know.
Just give us all the details.
All right. I love this story. So I've always loved makeup, probably like you guys. Like, I mean, my earliest memories of makeup were like 10 years old, 11 years old, just always loved it. And I can remember being 12 and having my mom, like begging my mom to have the Mary Kay lady over to like teach me and my little friends at our slumber party, like how to put on makeup. Like that's how far back it goes. So when I was in college and I guess I was 19 at the time, I applied it to work at the Mac counter in Saks Fifth Avenue here in Austin. It's actually no longer there anymore. But I started working out at the Mac counter in a 12-hour position. And I was at Mac for about 6 years. And it was one of those jobs that I started in college and I always thought it was just going to be like a part-time, you know, fun job, get through college, then figure out what I'm going to do. I still had no idea, you know? And when I left MAC, so the last 2 years I was at MAC, I was actually a trainer. So I was responsible for like training all the people within my region on makeup artistry and product knowledge and customer service and all of that. And when I left MAC, because I finished school, left MAC, moved back to Austin, started working in like a 9-to-5 office job. And I like really, really missed doing makeup. And so I launched like a little wedding makeup business, and I would do wedding makeup on the weekends, and then I'd work in my office job during the week. And I did that for about 5 or 6 years. I had a pretty good size like wedding makeup business here in Austin. There wasn't a whole lot of us at the time doing it. So I was, you know, pretty much booked every weekend. And then when I started having kids, I was like, okay, something's got to give. Like I can't do all of this anymore. Mm-hmm. And when I had my second daughter was when I had finally come to terms with like, okay, like I can't really do wedding makeup anymore, even though I love it. The unfortunate side to wedding makeup is it's always on the weekends, right? No one's getting married on Monday or Tuesdays.
Right.
So it was just like, my husband and I were like, there's only so many, you know, soccer games I'm going to miss, or so many family gatherings I'm going to miss because I'm booked for a wedding. So I closed the door on that chapter, and it was like maybe 6 months later, I'm like, I have got to find some way to do makeup. And I started watching YouTube videos, and just was like, that'll be a fun way to teach people makeup. You know, I was so naive to YouTube at the time. Like I didn't understand that people like did this full time. I didn't know that. I didn't know any of that. So I just would upload videos like once or twice a month.
And a lot of people still don't know that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I remember being at the dinner, like we had a family gathering, and my younger cousin, he was probably in his early 20s, and I was in my early 30s when I started YouTube. And he told me that he made a comment that like, oh yeah, you know, you can make money doing YouTube. And I was like, oh, whatever. Like, I was like, whatever.
Sure.
Yeah. I just thought whatever. And I did YouTube for about 3 years before I, you know, kind of decided and realized the opportunity, and decided like, okay, like this is something I can put more effort into and really build a channel and be more regular with my content. And that's how I got here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
hey, Jacqueline.
You know, Jacqueline does events, and she hears you on, you know, when becoming a mom and pulling yourself thin is definitely hard to give up, for sure.
Yeah.
Especially if it's something you're passionate about.
I know, it was just so hard. I think if I think back, my makeup has always been a passion for me, and I've always found some way to have it in my life, whatever made sense at the time, you know? And at the time, YouTube made sense because I could film it whenever the kids were asleep. I could be totally on my schedule. I didn't have clients that I had to be available for. And then, you know, that led to here. So I think I always tell people, I truly believe if you follow your passion, you don't have to have a grand plan. Like just do what you love, like do what you enjoy, and it'll lead to the right thing, you know?
Exactly.
Most definitely.
It definitely has to be something that you're passionate about, and something that even though it might be work, you don't feel like it's work. And that's one of the things that I love about this platform, because it doesn't feel like work, like an actual job feels.
Totally. Yeah, totally.
So how long have you been on YouTube?
Let's see. My daughter's turning 6 next month, so 6 years. I launched my channel about 6 weeks before she was born.
Wow.
So 6 years.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Happy 6 years.
Thanks.
Yes.
Yeah. I think May 21st was my anniversary.
Gotcha.
So, yeah.
It was
love.
Yeah. When I started, I remember like, you know, I was shy. I was embarrassed. I didn't want anyone to know I was doing it. I just was like,
we were all there.
Right? Same way. I was like, I didn't even tell my husband that I was starting a channel, and he saw me editing a video, and he's like, what are you doing? I was like, nothing. And he's like,
when would you film?
I was like, So I filmed it in the daytime when he was gone for work. I was working from
Mm.
home
Oh my
that
gosh.
summer. So he was at work. And so when I finally told him, he's like, YouTube, you're doing YouTube and makeup. And I was like, don't judge me.
Yeah.
No
Don't
one
say
needs to
that.
know
Don't say
this.
anything.
And so versus now, he's always like, so what's next? What are we doing
Yes.
next? And I'm like, this is what we're doing. So yeah, I totally
That's
feel you
cool.
on that. Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
Oh my
Yeah, and it's
God.
funny because when people would find out, they always thought it was so neat. You know, like
Yeah.
when the moms at the preschool would find out, they'd be like, "Oh, I saw your video," and I'm like, "Oh, you did?" Like, and they'd be like, "Oh, I love that lipstick. I picked it up because," and I'm like, "Oh, okay."
Right.
So wait, do people at the preschool still do that, or do they just know, like, hey, I'm Lisa J, I do makeup, or are they always like, wait, I saw you on the internet?
You know what's really funny? There is a one of those advertisements that, you know how like these companies will take YouTubers' videos without their permission and they'll market like a counterfeit
Right.
product. So there's one of a hairdryer, a Revlon hairdryer that I did, and it's all over all these ads. And I can't tell you how many times people will be like, oh, "I saw you in an ad, and that's so cool." And I'm like, "No, it's not."
Really not.
Actually.
It's really not. Someone's stealing my stuff, but
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
So I had a question about BK Beauty brushes, which did we already say you are the owner of BK Beauty brushes?
Come on now.
I know it's
Oh,
on the
yeah.
thumbnail, but yo, BK Beauty, this is Lisa's baby.
Yes.
So
it's my
you
baby.
told me that yes, you are about to
Right.
celebrate your 1 year anniversary.
Yes.
Oh, wait a minute. I missed that mod. Bring it back. Do it again for me, Alicia.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So you're coming up on a year.
A
The
year.
1 year anniversary.
Yes,
Yes.
August 1st will be a year that we went
Amazing.
live. Yes. It has been a crazy
Congratulations.
year.
Your
Thank
summer
you.
is like, you're celebrating anniversaries all summer. I love it.
All summer long.
Yes.
And I love it.
Yes. Yeah.
So what
I can't believe it.
inspired it? What inspired BK Beauty? What does BK Beauty stand for? Literally, B and the K.
It's beauty is kindness. It stands for beauty is kindness, and there's a story there. So you know, when my husband, I always say we, and people are like, I thought it was just you. It's my husband and I, Paul. When Paul and I were, you know, in the early stages of planning the brand, and we were thinking of names, you know, of course he threw out like Lisa J makeup, and I'm like, no, like I pretty much knew from the beginning that I didn't want. I wanted it to be not about me. I wanted it to be about something greater than myself. I wanted it to be something that women might not even, they might not be on BK Beauty because they want to support me or they know me. They just heard about the brand. And so when I was thinking of like what our cause, what our mission, my why, like where my heart is at, because I truly feel like if you're going to build a brand, you have to do it from your heart. There has to be something more powerful and stronger than just like making a product to sell a product, you know? And so I was thinking of, you know, what's in my heart, and of course my daughters first come to mind, and they're Brooklyn and Kate. And so that's kind of where the B in the K started. And then as a mom, and Chelsea, you probably feel this way too with girls, like, and being in the beauty community and being on social media, you probably, I mean, I know for myself, I think about all the time, like, what message am I teaching my girls about beauty?
Exactly.
You know, I mean, they see what I do and they think it's so fun and they want to come in and put a makeup on, and it's fun, but I also want them to know, like, you know, makeup is fun, but that's not where you get your beauty. That doesn't make you beautiful. You know, beauty comes from a place deeper than our physical appearance. And so that's where I took the B and the K, and I thought, what do I want to teach my girls about beauty? And that's that beauty is kindness. Beauty is how you treat other people. Beauty is how you treat yourself. Beauty is how you talk to yourself, the thoughts that you, you know, it's all under this beauty is kindness umbrella. So that's where BK Beauty was born.
Yes. And I totally agree with you on that, because I know for me, if I could say, my obsession with makeup came after I had my second daughter. I had a lot of acne breakouts and I just didn't feel pretty, you know, postpartum and all of that. And so when I got kind of over that and I was like, okay, I'm not feeling these feelings, I still love makeup, but I also want to impart that you're beautiful without makeup. Makeup is just an enhancer. It's something that you can love, but it shouldn't be something to define you. And I watched your video that you made when you launched your brush line, and I felt that I was like almost
No.
well, number one, I cry over everything.
Oh, me
so-
too, girl. Me too.
But I was starting to tear up because I was like, I really felt where you were coming from. Beauty really should be about kindness. And I mean, the term beauty should make you smile. It shouldn't be something that's dark or dramatic or, you know, offensive. So I love your whole message behind your brand. I think it's amazing.
Thanks. Yeah, thank you.
So what inspired you to create brushes first?
Right.
Yeah, so we were we're going to grow and we'll be offering other product categories, but we wanted to start with brushes because one thing I have always believed as a makeup artist is that having the right brushes is so important. I mean, you know, I tell people like you can be just now starting in makeup, you know, and not really know what you're doing, but if you have good brushes and good tools, that can do a lot of the work for you. And on the other side of that, you can be an amazing makeup artist with all this experience. And if you don't have good tools or good brushes, you're going to find yourself frustrated because you're not going to be able to blend the product out. It's not going to apply the way that, you know, that it should. And so I felt like brushes are the foundation to a good makeup application. So that's why we started with brushes.
So these brushes, y'all, phenomenal.
Fire.
And I have to say, my two favorites have to be the coveted 101 angled brush. I mean, the way it fits on the face. And then this 204 smudge brush. I did not realize I needed this in my life.
Yay!
I did it. So tell us, how did you create the design of these brushes? What inspired the shape of the hairs? Because I feel like when I look at your brushes compared to my other brushes, there's a uniqueness of the actual shape to each one.
Yes.
So give us all of those details about that.
Yeah. So when we first launched, we launched with 9 brushes, the essentials, and those 2 brushes were part of the initial launch. Those 9.
Yes, just
yeah, and I wanted to create brushes that I found myself, you know, always grabbing for as a makeup artist or always wanting, and I wanted them to be a size that worked for everybody. You know, I feel like the makeup industry has just changed so much since the days that I worked at MAC. I feel like there's so many options. There's so many, you know, launches and it's just heightened at a whole nother level. And sometimes I see brushes and I'm like, what do I use that for? Like I'm confused, you know? And so I wanted to start with simple brushes that were pretty straightforward, that worked on all shapes. We have 2 crease brushes in our initial launch, one that's a little smaller and tapered for more like hooded eyes or smaller eyes, and then one that's a little more rounded and larger for a larger lid space. So I was just about creating brushes that were pretty straightforward, simple to use, and that did most of the work for you. But that 101, I was looking for something that kind of like hit the mark for, I feel like when it comes to foundation, people either like to kind of press like this to apply, or you have the people that like to, you know, blend like this, right? And this brush is great because you can do either with that. You know, it allows you to do both. Yeah, I am too.
I love it.
I'm a presser. That is me all day. All day. And
but then when you get out here, you know, you can really shear it out, and
exactly,
it has the longer hair, so it allows you to really blend and shear out any harsh lines and edges.
That's my favorite foundation brush.
It is.
It is.
Really?
I look, I had a favorite, and my followers know that favorite because one of them joked and was like, you use that same brush whether you're putting on a $150 foundation or a $6 foundation. And guys, she's come along and replaced it. And I'm not even saying that because you're on here. Like, ever since I got this one, I haven't touched my other one.
Which one was it before? I'm curious.
It was this Flower Beauty flat top brush, and it's angled. I mean, it doesn't look identical,
kind of similar,
to it, but I like an angled brush. But this one is just even more angled, and it just fits so perfectly on the face. And I don't feel the need to then blend this way. Like I can just press the way that I like it, and it's blended in, and I'm like,
you're done.
I'm done.
Good.
I'm just done.
Oh, that makes me so happy.
I love it.
I love a tapered powder brush. That's my favorite type of powder brush.
Mine too.
Yes.
I'm like, did Lisa make these with me in mind?
Yes.
Lisa, if you don't mind, I wanted to drop a question from one of our audience members in terms of like, how do you start a brush company? Like if you were inspired to do so, what was your process in that?
Yeah. So gosh, there are a lot of different options. I'll tell you kind of how the direction we went and why I think that it's great advice for someone just starting. So we went with a firm, a contract manufacturer here in the United States that is basically kind of like a consultant that helps us find relationships and make connections with they have connections and relationships with factories and labs all around the world. And so they work with the liaison and they're the liaison for us. They work with us and then they work with the factory to, execute our designs, quality control, make sure that everything is being produced the way that it should, making sure that, the lab and the factory that you're working are meeting certain standards. So, that's the direction that we went. You could also go straight to the factory yourself, find a factory, go straight to it and work with them. I think that when you're working with a factory that's overseas and there's maybe a language barrier, it's so important that you have someone that can help you communicate that, because it's, you have to be so particular and precise about the feedback and the direction that you're giving. And if there's that language barrier, you need someone that can help you and work on your behalf to help with that. So that's what we did. There's also a show that if anyone is curious about starting a brand, there's a show that happens in New York and it also happens in LA. It happens in LA in February and New York in September, which I'm sure it's not going to happen this year, but it's called Makeup in LA or Makeup in New York. And that would be my recommendation for anyone that's interested in starting a brand, is to go to this show. Because I think I just lost a lash. Because they have, there's basically 200 factories and labs and contract manufacturers that go to the show, and they have booths and exhibits, and you can go around and have meetings and kind of learn and get samples and kind of learn what each partner does. And that's a great way to find a partner too. That would probably be the first place I would start.
Awesome.
Amazing.
Thank you.
Dropping that website in the chat. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Okay. So, Alicia, you were going to ask, how does she make the brushes?
Should I ask again?
Yes. You're Alicia way.
Sorry, I missed that.
Lisa.
Yes.
Lisa. How do you create your brushes and/or brush sizes, specifically the contour foundation? Did you think of yourself in the makeup process and you're like, well, when I get to this step, I need a brush like this? Or tell us, indulge.
Yeah.
No.
And then I want to add something to it. Even with the length of these, because I noticed that depending on the type of brush, we have different lengths of these ferrules, and I am loving this longer length. So just give us all the goodness about that.
Yeah. So one thing that I would always train when I worked at MAC is how to use brushes. And I would always tell people, the longer and fluffier the fibers, the more of a blending application you're going to get, right? And the shorter and more dense, the more product you're going to get to apply, right? So if you're looking to, let me see if I find, let me just grab some brushes here.
And I have all of mine in front of me too as well.
So that's one thing I always teach about brushes is, when you're looking at brush heads, right? The longer, fluffier, the more sheer, it's going to be a blending tool for you, right? And then the shorter, more dense, this is going to be what's going to pick up your product and really apply it and pack it on. So when I was creating the heads, I was, obviously, having those considerations in mind. As far as the handle lengths, I don't know if you agree with this, Kelsey, but when I worked at MAC, I had who was it that told me? It was what did they call them?
The
pro artist.
Okay.
The pro artist.
Yes.
Yes, that was their title, right?
Yeah, and now
well, there was a senior artist. That's what it was. Yeah, senior artist. They told me this tip, and I took it with me, and I never forgot it. But the way you hold your brush also impacts the type of application you're going to get.
Yes.
When you're trying to pack a lot of product on, usually holding it closer to the ferrule is going to give you more control. When you really want to shear out and get a blown out blend, holding it further back is going to give your hand more movement and range of motion so that you can do that. If you're real choked up on it like this, you're not going to have that same soft like range of motion, and it's going to be harder to get that like blown out blend. So with the brushes that I felt like you wanted to have the option to either, you know, get more impact or a sheer application, I wanted them to be a little bit longer. With the brushes that I felt like you really, you know, wanted to be closer to the ferrule, they're a little shorter.
Yeah.
So that's fine.
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. So you wear a ton of hats, a ton. So we've got YouTuber, mother, CEO. I mean, all the hats. So how do you find time to be organized, stay inspired to create? Because you just told us, you know, there's going to be more coming from BK Beauty. You upload on the regular. And I feel like there is not a lot of CEOs out here who also have a platform on YouTube who can say that, who are still here on this platform, still creating, still a mom, still have time for yourself. I mean, because I'm actually just trying to find out for myself. How do you say, you know, what is your secret, and how do you stay inspired, especially because our community is always changing. There's something that's always new. So tell us, what is it?
You know, so I one thing that I made very clear to Paul, I was very stern with him. I told him, I said, you know, when we launched BK Beauty, I told him, I said, my YouTube channel is going to be separate. Like, I don't, I really want to keep the integrity of my channel what it has always been. And while I do use the brushes in my videos, I didn't want my YouTube channel to turn into some platform that's just pushing my brand or product. You know, it was really important for me to not do that. And YouTube is something I am so grateful for. Like, every day, you guys probably feel the same way. Like, you know, I'm so grateful for YouTube and the community that I have through my channel. Like, I will never abandon that. That's kind of my priority, really. When we launched, it was just Paul and I, and Paul was working full-time at his job. And we launched out of our house, and, you know, we didn't know what to expect. So our house kind of became this fulfillment center for like 3 or 4 months. It was just like total chaos. And I was kind of going crazy. It was kind of turning into me just like trying to juggle this all, and just, you know, and trying to be, you know, I'm not a stay-at-home mom, but I also have always kind of thought of myself that way, because I want to pick the kids up from school. I want to take them to all their activities. So it's like I have this, you know, I have a limited amount of time to work, because I do want to do all those things. And anyway, in November of last year, I was just like, we need to get some help. And so we made our first hire with BK Beauty, and that was hugely helpful. So she helps a lot, kind of, you know, with order fulfillment and customer service. And that really allowed me to continue to keep my focus, you know, on YouTube and do the things for BK Beauty that I needed to do, like product development, but kind of remove me from all the things that, you know, I didn't need to be doing. So that was hugely helpful. But I think too, to be honest, like, I don't feel like I have it all together, and I don't feel like I am super organized. I don't. And, you know, I'm always flattered when people have that assumption of me, but I feel like I'm bursting the bubble, or I don't have a good answer to that question. But the truth is this too. Last year, I kind of just took off all the pressure on myself, and I said, you know, this needs to be fun. I need to enjoy this. The moment that I feel like I'm putting too much pressure on myself, or I'm creating content that I'm not happy with, or that I'm just put up, like, that's when I need to kind of give myself some grace and say, you know what, it's okay if a video gets up a little bit later this week, or, you know, and just, you know, chill.
Not be so hard on yourself.
Like
that. We're like, well, you need to be doing more.
No.
What can I do? And it's like, chill.
Yes.
That was my mantra for these past couple of months, between homeschooling, my actual job, YouTube. It was like, okay, what can I let go and just not stress myself out anymore about? And I went from being very structured to almost having no structure. And although some days it drives me crazy, it stresses me out less.
Right.
Because, like, I can't stay on that pre-COVID structure because we're not there.
Right.
So I can identify with that as well.
And I think for so long too, I took pride in like this idea that I was always busy. Like, it's almost like I liked feeling like I was always stressed out or something. Like, it made me feel accomplished if I was like, and I was just like, what is that? That is crazy, you know? Like, so I just relax, and I don't, you know, it'll all get done.
Yep. I actually saw a question in the chat. It was a really good question. Someone said, how do you decide, or how did you decide on choosing a synthetic hair for your brushes versus natural brushes? And then let's see. Yes. And what is your perspective on the two and on the difference?
Yeah, that's a really great question. So, when I started in makeup, I worked at MAC, and all the hair back then was all natural. And I do remember, it really kind of being, natural hair brushes are superior. And then, that was a long time ago. Things have really come a long way in the synthetic hair space. And so when we were first starting out, we were like looking at all the options, and we were talking to all these different, we probably talked to about 15 different manufacturers and got samples. And I would say of the 15, 13 of them, 12 or 13 of them said they don't do natural hair. They only do synthetic. And then the few that still did natural said that they were going to be phasing it out in the next couple of years. I think that overall in the industry, there's a big shift to going more synthetic. And I think there's a lot of reasons for that, but one of them is that synthetic hair has come a long way. There's processes now that make them mimic natural hair. With natural hair, what's great is it's real porous. So it really picks up powder product. It picks it up really well. Synthetic hair has always been known to be, better for cream or liquid products, because with a natural hair being more porous, it can absorb product, where a synthetic isn't going to have that same absorption. But you can still get, a beautiful blend with quality synthetic fibers. So once I educated myself more and I learned about that, I grew more comfortable. And I also truly when we were thinking of our pillars of our brand, cruelty-free was definitely, a non-negotiable for us. And not to say that, you can't have a natural hair cruelty-free brush, because you can, but I really wanted to know that. And I really wanted to feel confident that our brushes were cruelty-free and vegan. Our brand will be vegan always. So it was important that we not have any animal, products in our brushes, and then in future products too.
Awesome.
Sounds good.
Question about BK Beauty. So you all are known for being very philanthropic, and you are involved in a lot of charities. So I was wondering if you could explain and just tell us a few of the charities that you've partnered with here recently, or just in general.
Yeah. So when we first started the Kindness Campaign, which is a nonprofit here in Austin, and they create curriculum that is taught in schools like grades K through 12. And the curriculum that they teach is they basically teach kids about social emotional awareness. They teach them empathy, the importance of kindness, self-esteem, self-confidence. It's really helping kids develop those skills really young. And it really aligned perfectly with where I wanted, what our values were, and what tugged at my heart personally as a mom. And we talked earlier about that beauty and the message of beauty and kindness. And it was just kind of a perfect fit. So they're our primary partner that we give to. We give 10% of profits to the Kindness Campaign. And then, it's really, the work that they do is really incredible. I've had the opportunity to go into a few schools here in Austin and be part of the different initiatives that they have. And it's, you can't stand there and not get tears in your eyes and a lump in your throat. It's just, it's things that I wish I had as a kid, the support that I wish I had. And then we've also given to a few other nonprofits due to just things that arose with COVID. We wanted to give back to our community, so we gave back to the Central Texas Food Bank, which is it serves all of Central Texas for the month of April, half of March and all of April. And then recently, with what we've seen with George Floyd and Black Lives Matter, we gave back to a bailout fund that helped bail out protesters that were arrested during the peaceful protesting. And then we also gave to Casa Marianella, which is an organization here that helps immigrant women and children that are fleeing from a lot of times domestic abuse situations, or and they have no support, no place to go. It's a house that homes them, and we gave back to them. And then we also gave to the Center for Child Protective Services, which is I can't really talk about it without getting a little emotional, but it's an organization that helps kids that are victims of sexual abuse or abuse here in Austin. And they're basically the liaison between the child and law enforcement. And they help kids that have experienced abuse. They help counsel them, counsel their families. They help the child tell the story just one time so that they don't have to continue to tell that story and relive it over and over to law enforcement. And so, yeah. So it's really
amazing.
Yeah. It's you know, when we started, it was always the kindness campaign, but then I find as things happen, you know, it's like in my heart to give back and help where we can in other, you know, in other areas and other ways. So
I love that.
And we are more than happy to post those organizations down in the description box so people could.
I'll send those to you. Yeah.
Amazing. That'll be great. Now, if you're open, Lisa, there are a lot of budding entrepreneurs in this chat.
Yes.
Okay. And I think the number one thing is all about the finances, right? If you're comfortable, just a ballpark, you're like, this is how much I need to save up. I want to start a brush company, a makeup company, and maybe tips along the way that you've learned for anyone new who's looking to get into that.
Yeah. So we funded, and Paul and I are we funded BK Beauty entirely ourselves. And one thing that I always did with I actually had worked outside of the house. When I started YouTube, I went back to work and I had a job outside of the home when I was doing YouTube. And so when my YouTube channel actually started to, earn some money, I'd always just kind of put it aside for a few years. So we used that to start our, start BK Beauty. As far as a number, I mean, it really depends. We launched with 9 brushes. So the way that it works when you are finding manufacturers, you have to order a minimum quantity of each item. So we had 9 brushes. We had a lot of minimum quantities are going to be, you're probably not going to find anything less than 1,000 minimum quantity, but you're likely going to see a lot more, 5,000 of each item. So if you have 5 brushes, that's 5,000 of each of those brushes you have to place in your first order. And so depending on how many items you launch with, that'll really determine that budget that you need. Yeah. So you could launch with 9, you could launch with 3, it really depends. But, we launched with 9, and we spent several tens of thousands of dollars for that first production run, that we financed. So I hope that helps.
And then tell us, when did you know the right time to actually start your brand? Yeah, because when I was watching your video, you were saying that you kind of always knew that this was in you, but as a creator, how do you know like now is the time to actually move forward versus previously or waiting till later?
Yeah, that's a good one. So I always had some entrepreneurial bug in me, like always. Even when I had my wedding makeup business, I didn't share this earlier, but it started out with just me, and then I grew a team of like 5 or 6 makeup artists, and we would do like 40 or 50 weddings a month. I've just always had this like, passion for business and customer service, and I've just always really loved that. And when I was a makeup artist, I wanted to have my own cosmetic brand, and I looked into it, but just kind of surface level. It didn't really get very far, and it probably wouldn't have succeeded for me at the time because I had no platform. I wasn't on social media. It would have been me trying to sell to my clients, which would be great, but it would have been a little more challenging. I don't know when I thought. I think when you do anything like this, you can always feel like another year would be better to save, or maybe you should wait till this or that. I feel like you always have that voice that is going to the doubt will try and hold you back, or that it's scary. It's scary, especially when there's a lot of money involved that you've been saving for years, but I don't know. I was frankly kind of terrified.
Ooh, here we go.
I feel like I would be too. It's like we're putting all of this money into something, and I hope people like it, and I hope they buy it.
I will say though that the day that we launched, it was overwhelming. I knew that the community that I have found here on YouTube, I don't even want to call my community. I'm part of this community. It's the community that I have found and become part of. I knew that community was amazing and so supportive, but I just didn't really get it, you know? And I'll never forget, like, we launched the website at 8 a.m. on, I think it was Thursday. It was a Thursday, August 1st. We should go back and see if August 1st fell on a Thursday last year, but I'm pretty sure it was Thursday. And we were sitting in my husband's, you know, home office, and Brooklyn came in, and I was like, all right, baby, you want to press the live button, you know? And you press the little live button, and then you could see like, oh, there's, you know, people on the website. You can see everyone on the site. And it was a moment that I will never forget. That first day was,
It was a Thursday.
It was a Thursday, right?
It was.
It was a really special moment. So I guess my advice to anyone that wants to do this would be, you know, to just really go for it, and always have, and the first thing you should always prioritize and care about is your community. And I think if you have a community that trusts you, that you serve, that you continue to show up for, that you're honest with and you're authentic, like those customers those community will turn into your customers, you know, and they'll be there to support you. So,
oh, that's amazing, Lisa.
That makes a lot of
I
sense.
saw another question that was a really good one. So someone asked, in between the time when you were first thinking about starting your brand and talking with manufacturers, and then starting out with designing your brushes, how long did it take for that process until the process where you were finished? What was that time frame like?
Yeah, so we launched the website August 1st. I think we started talking about the business the summer before. So about a year before, is that right? Yeah, is when we started talking about it. It took us 3 or 4 months really to just figure out where the heck we go. You know, we were Googling, we were just like running into a bunch of dead ends, you know, getting samples back that were just like, no, this isn't gonna work out, you know, and just kind of getting discouraged. And then it was November that we found our manufacturer that we're working with now. And so that's when really things started to roll. And then we actually didn't get our first order until that first week of August. So we launched doing a pre-sale of brushes, which that was kind of a crazy thing to do now that I look back at it, because we basically started pre-selling things that we knew they were on the way. Like we were tracking them, you know, they had gone through customs. We knew they were on their way to us, but it started to get really scary when we started receiving all of these orders and we had no product yet. And I was just like,
Getting down to the wire.
Right. Yeah. I don't recommend doing that. I've learned from that. But luckily we were able to, and the crazy thing is okay, we launched on the 1st, we pre-sold until the 10th. So we told everyone like, hey, you can pre-order on the 1st, your order will ship by the 10th. That on the 10th was the day that I actually was able to go inside Nordstrom here in Austin, and they allowed me to have a table and sell product there.
Wow.
It was really cool. Yeah, but it was just a crazy day because we were trying to get out all these orders that same day, and I was trying to do this event at Nordstrom, and Paul was like packing them all in his car and like making all these trips.
Crazy day.
It was a crazy day, but it was good times. I mean, I have pictures of me and my friends in my living room at 3 a.m., like, you know, packing orders and stuff. So
must be fun.
Yeah,
that sounds exciting.
Yeah, so I would say if the whole process, you need to give yourself at least a year. Once you find your manufacturer, the product development like takes an average of 10 or 12 months. It's about 10 months. We're starting on cosmetics right now, and that process we found. Yeah.
So that's what's next for BK.
That is what's next. Yes. And that has been a longer process.
Exclusive.
Yes.
Can you tell us what cosmetic product is next, or is that just too much right now?
Yeah, too much. But I will say we have products planned for the next 12 months, and it's a bunch of different categories for eyes, for cheeks, and for lips. So, yes.
Can you give us a ballpark as to when?
When? Yes. So we were supposed to launch in May. And then, you know, things just happened. The world changed this year, as we all know. And so then it got moved to August. Okay. And then it, another little lesson learned here when we launched, and we had everything approved. It took me so long to approve all the different shades and formulas, and we approved them all. And then we got our proof of the packaging with all the ingredients listed. And we noticed that our vegan symbol was removed from the packaging. We're like, what? Mm-hmm. And so we started looking at the ingredients, and there was an ingredient in there that was not vegan. And so, I mean, lesson learned, right? Like our partner knew we were, but anyway, that's a long story. But anyway, we had to go back and say, you know what, we need to reformulate those particular shades. And so we just approved those. So now November. So it was in May. Now we're at November. That was a long story, but yeah.
Well, actually, you kind of heavy on the chai. She is like one of our MVP squad members. And basically, in terms of the brushes, like back and forth, when you got the brush, was the design on the first try, or you had to like do the exchange a couple of times?
Yes, do it a couple of times. You know, I mean, it really depends on your communication with them. I think the best advice too is providing benchmarks. So if there's something that you love and you just want to tweak it a little bit, or make the hairs a little longer, or flatten the shape a little bit, providing benchmarks is a good starting point. Or, you know, just really describing exactly what you're looking for. A lot of the partners out there, contract manufacturers, will help guide you too. If you're, you know, if you know what you kind of want generally, but you also want some guidance on what's going to, you know, be a great design, they can help with that. But yeah, we went back and forth a couple of times.
Is there one brush that took the longest to get right?
Yeah.
The 101.
You know what? Of course, and that's why it is perfection, y'all. That is why it is perfection. Because let me tell you, this whole face right here was done by BK
Put your
Beauty.
101s up.
It looks beautiful too.
It's
Your
great.
101s up.
Put your 101s what?
I just don't even see it.
Inspired
Come
by
on,
Vicky
Kelsey
Bay.
girl. Come
I
on.
know.
Kelsey.
Oh, I think
Kelsey.
dirty. Wait a minute.
It's okay.
It's okay.
It's okay.
It's
For
okay.
you.
We got to get her more.
We know you
101s.
got.
Four.
Wait. Where's my 104? Oh, I can't even.
Put
find
your
it.
bunny
104
tails
is
up.
another one of my favorites too. The 104 is another one of my favorites.
I really
So-
enjoyed the 107 for blush.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, 107. I use 106 is Bay for me in terms of
Yes, I love that one too.
Let's see
It's
which
another
one.
option for foundation.
foundation, cream
Oh,
bronzer.
This
Junior.
one.
Yeah.
There we go. There we go.
Okay, here we go.
Back,
One
we're
more
back.
time.
One more
Okay.
time.
Woo.
Put your 101s up.
I feel like we need to do this every night.
We do.
It's
We
so
actually
fun.
do. I like the 106 also for blush. So I like to put my blush sometimes right on the apples of my cheeks, and it fits right
Yes,
there.
it does.
Perfect. Yeah,
For
it's
that.
a good cheek,
Pow,
a
pow.
cheek brush.
Yep, it's excellent. I mean, should we just go through all the brushes now?
Well, I just wanted to give us a time check, friends.
Oh,
We are
thank
at
you,
the-
Alicia.
We're at the 47 mark. So we integrated some of our audience member questions, and we'll scan through to see if there are any ones that you're dying to ask.
Right.
But listen, up to you, Lisa. If there's a brush story, I mean, now we know the 101 was the toughest to
Yeah.
create in terms of the back and forth. Do you have okay, you had to pick, I know it's like picking your children, but if you had to
favorite.
pick,
Yes, if you had to pick.
I'll do 5. I was gonna do 3. That was mean. I'll do 5.
Okay. I'm excited.
5
Oh,
brushes.
5 for me. Oh, I thought you were
5 for you. 5 for
5
you.
for me. Okay. So
Must have.
And this is kind of, I hope people don't get upset by this, but I actually love both the foundation brushes, the 101 and the 106, because people will ask me too. They'll be like, which one is better, or which one do you like better? And they're just so different, you know.
Mhm.
The 101 is different, I think, than most foundation brushes out there, and it was kind of a risk because I didn't know if people were going to embrace that or if they were going to be like, no, but it's our most popular brush. And what's funny is we were already working on the development of the 106 before this launch. Like, this was already in the works. If I had known that the 101 was going to be so popular, I might have not developed another foundation brush so soon, to release so soon after. But I love both of these. The 202 is another favorite of mine. I just washed them all too. They're going to... the 202, which is the crease brush that has a more tapered tip.
I love that one.
I love
This
that
one fits perfectly in my crease. Perfectly.
Yes. I like a more like tapered brush. Like, that's my favorite crease brush, is the 202. And then the 108, this new little guy, the smaller one.
Yes.
I love it. Yes.
Right here.
I mean, you can do everything with it. I feel like you can set under the eyes. You can really kind of set the whole face and just little target
Yep.
areas.
I
And then
run
you
on
can
my
even put
concealer with this.
cheeks. Yeah. Yes. And I do
Yeah.
concealer too.
I do concealer, and then
Yeah.
I set my under eye powder
Wait.
with it and my
Do I
T-zone.
have that brush? I don't.
One away
You don't have it? I need to get it to you, Kelsey.
Yes.
through the screen.
Right, here you go, Kelsey.
That's too funny.
Okay, so we've got 101, 106, the 202, 108. You got one more.
One more, the 204. The one that,
204.
yeah, the little smudger brush.
Oh,
The smidge.
Yeah.
Little baby.
this is it's just
Oh,
I
my
like
smudge
it
is
too.
another
The
can.
brushes
like
feel like little bunnies on their face.
Yes,
That was Kate the Great. Kate the Great. I think it was the 104. And I actually saved that on the BK Beauty feed because she makes me laugh. Do you guys watch Kate the Great?
Oh, she's hilarious.
She's hilarious. And she was like, it's like a bunny on your face.
it really
this
is.
has been, I see people call it the bunny brush, and that's why.
It thus has been coined, that name,
Yeah.
yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Most
So that's
definitely.
5. Yes, that's
Ooh.
5.
Someone did ask, what do you do for fun? They actually asked all of us to answer it, but we're gonna have Lisa answer it. What is something that you do for fun? And they said that you can't say YouTube.
Okay. I'm not really that fun. I like to go running. Is that
Run? Okay. Do you run for races?
No, I'm a very slow runner. I like to put headphones in and either listen to really good music that's like 15 years old, because that's the last time I listened to good music. And I listen to kids music. I listen to like music that makes me think I'm 22 again.
Listen.
Or I'll listen to like a good audiobook or podcast.
Okay.
Early
I-
2000s was where it's at, okay?
Yes. I
Yes.
agree.
Most
I
definitely.
agree.
I
Yeah.
thoroughly like to run, but I also love running for medals too.
Oh,
Because
really?
yes. Now
Ooh.
I have not ran in a hot minute. My last half marathon was in 2014, so I have to get back on
Wow.
it. But
Look at
crossing that
you.
finish line and getting those medals,
Oh, I bet.
yeah,
That's
great.
awesome. I
Yeah.
can't run more than like 5. After 5 miles, my knees start to remind me that I'm old.
5 miles is a long time.
Yeah. Now,
After
now after 3 miles, I'm like, whoa, Sally, whoa, we're doing a lot.
But at least,
No.
yeah, I want to learn yoga, and I want to like learn. I want to do what you do. Like, you're my hero. I'm not even
tell you.
kidding.
You know, when I pretend that I'm a circus performer, and
You-
at 35,
You could be, girl. Like,
No, she really can't.
well, you know, it was one of those things where I always wanted to try the silks, and
Mhm.
a lot of my friends did it, performed in clubs and did nightlife. And when I tried it for the first time, I was hooked, because for circus now, it has found its niche in the fitness industry as like circus fit, to delve into artistry, but also strength and conditioning at the same time. I think that fusion really caught people's attention. And especially if you're from the performance arts world, that you wanted to still have that artistry feel and goal, but not be stressed about it, because I'm like, I ain't going to be paid by Cirque du Soleil. Like, I don't need to be doing splits every day, but it's just nice to know that I have circus friends that I aspire. I mean, I can never do what they do, but just to know that I have a connection with them.
yeah.
It's really a lot
amazing.
of fun.
How long have you
So-
been into that, like in fitness? And I mean, has it always been part of your life?
Well, I've been in the fitness industry I worked front desk for a long time, was in the environment, but I started teaching maybe 10 years ago.
Oh, okay. That's a long time.
And yeah, I felt like I just started yesterday. It's kind of crazy. And being from the dancer world, I didn't have a great relationship with fitness, because back in the day, it was either yoga or Pilates. Like, you weren't taking anything else except that, or else the legs would get too big, you get too tight.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Right? So that was the mentality. But I think since then, they've had a more open approach to conditioning and dance. And now dancers are taking all types of classes, because they know how important they have to be strong for longevity. And now, because of that, I take a lot of my dancing into my teaching. And I got a little depressed, because when you graduate with a dance major, you don't have a professional job. You're like, I failed. I failed at life. But you know, this is a venue that I never knew that was available to me. And now I just went in full throttle and I love it. So
that's awesome. Yeah, I'm spent all my time on your feed. Like, oh, I wish I could do that.
She is a gift. I'm like, Alicia, my quads are tight. What can you do? She's like, FaceTime. All right, Chuck, let's go. Here we go. And I'm like,
appointment.
You're like, I'm sorry I asked. I'm sorry I asked.
Yeah. I want to show you this picture of Alicia. When I saw this picture, I literally screenshot it. I said, oh my gosh.
I mean,
oh wow.
Excuse me.
That's beautiful.
No,
that is beautiful.
Alicia, you have such a gift and you don't even know it. I don't think you understand your gift and how we see you. It's just amazing.
Friends,
you
better stop.
I hope you have that framed in your house.
Seriously.
Like,
you should.
Right there. I don't see it.
Right. You know, I'd be like, look, I'm 90 now, but look what I did.
Yes.
When I was, you know, in my hot 20s.
This is what I was doing. What are you doing? Oh my gosh. One of these days, the photographer was so kind in sending us some shots. So I'll get it framed. But yeah, I love doing that. And like Lisa, you know, when you're in it, when people are like, what do you do for fun? You go to the movies? I'm like, no.
Yeah.
I like to stay here and stretch.
Yeah, I know.
And put on eyeshadow. Thank you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
For fun, I like to go shopping. That's just my thing.
Well, so do I.
Shop. Like, I love to shop. I don't care. I love to shop at Home Depot. If I go to the mall, I'll shop anywhere. I mean, wherever. It's like, what are we shopping for? Oh, we need new tissue? No. I miss shopping at the grocery store like how I used to. I would take clothes at the grocery store. I love shopping at the mall. I'm a person who likes to go in store. I like to touch.
Me too.
I like to try on stuff. People are like, who still tries on clothes? I'm like, me. I like to go play. Okay, so I will go by myself.
I have a question. Ulta or Sephora? Where do you like to shop more? What's the experience?
Sephora.
Right?
Sephora.
Yeah.
I
don't
it's
know.
The experience. They
it
have
the
you.
experience.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's something about.
It's like you walk in and you just feel like this euphoric.
You feel like you're at home. Yes, you do. No,
I also like Sephora.
Yes.
And I also like for you to know about the product. So I've done this before, and not to be mean or anything. It's like I'll walk in knowing what product I want, knowing about the product, but I still want to hear from you because I'm like, you probably have had a representative from the brand come give you inside tips and all of this stuff. And I love that when I go, especially the ones that I go to, because I've made friends with them. I'm just like, hey girl, all we need is a glass of wine and we're having like a date night right there in Sephora.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's the best.
All day.
Thank you, friend.
Thank you. She's so sweet.
Her name is Frenzzz.
She's beautiful.
Yes, Frenzzz.
Yes, Frenzzz is
sweet. Giving face in that.
Oh, okay.
This is fun. I need to do this. I'm not kidding. Like,
another question.
Okay.
Yes, come back.
Hey, it's Jacqueline wants to ask you a question, Lisa. She said, would she try to get into Sephora? So would you try to get BK Beauty into Sephora?
That is a very good question. So, yes, I would. I think I really like being direct to consumer right now and being able to have this like direct connection and conversation. So I don't ever want to take the brand to being, you know, in lots of retailers. But I do think like one strategic retailer would be a good step for us in like the next 2 to 3 years. I think once we have other product categories, that would make more sense.
Yeah.
And my dream would either be Sephora or Nordstrom. I'm a Nordstrom girl. I don't know.
I like Nordstrom.
You said
I'm a Nordstrom girl.
Sephora, and I was like Nordies.
Their customer
I like
service
Nordstrom too.
I just love their
next
customer
level.
service. And
it is, yes.
And I like that they have, I mean, the beauty department's a little different because it's pretty much all luxury, but as far as like shopping in Nordstrom, they have brands, you know, for all different budgets. You get the like luxury experience, but you can also get, you know, budget friendly items there too.
Exactly.
So, and their customer service is just like the best. And that would be really important to me to wherever we are that I know that they're, you know, treating customers with just excellent customer service. So
absolutely. And that's like a main thing to me. And somebody mentioned Upthread. They were like, your customer service is A1.
Yay.
Mhm.
A few.
Yes.
A few comments we saw.
Oh, that's the best. Thank you guys. Yes, we
Yes.
we like, and I'm gonna, I say we, like there's a bunch of us. It's me, Paul, and Courtney, right? There's three of us. But I will have to give a lot of props to Paul too, because he just loves like delighting people. He loves going above and beyond when and just he'll forward me emails that he gets from customers that are so happy with him, and he'll just be like, well, it makes him feel good. He loves it. So
I feel that.
Next time you have to bring Paul. Just
I
say,
know.
Yes, we have to bring him up here.
He's so like shy and off camera.
Oh.
I know. I need to get him on.
well, you
One of
definitely
these
have to
days.
come back. When you
One of these days.
launch your beauty
Yes,
line and products, you have to come back.
we want you to come back. Yes.
I will. I'd love to.
Most definitely. So I know we're almost out of time. We already have Lisa's top 5 picks.
Yes.
She gave us amazing business advice. If any of you
Yes.
are thinking to venture into the same venue of business, whether it be cosmetic or brushes.
Oh,
I have one thing to add. If you are there, I don't know if you follow Sona Gasparian. Simply Sona is her channel.
Oh, yes.
Persona
Okay.
Cosmetics.
Yes.
Yes,
She's
yes,
owner
yes.
of Persona Cosmetics. So she has a series that she uploaded on her channel. I don't know how many videos. I think maybe like 4 or 5 videos. But she talks in each video about starting a brand, and all of the advice is pretty much identical to what I've experienced. So that would be a good series to watch if you're curious about it.
Oh,
And it's pretty new.
nugget.
Yeah.
Yes,
pretty
I will
new.
have to check that out.
Absolutely. All of
Whoever
us
finds
go
it
over
first,
and
just send me the link.
Yes, we're like, hey, Lisa told us about you.
Yes.
Most
Yes.
definitely. Well, any closing remarks, Lisa, that you want to leave with the fam?
I just want to thank you guys for having me. I had so much fun.
Aw,
I was telling the girls before we got on. I was like, I get so nervous for lives for some weird reason, and then I always have so much fun. I don't want it to end.
Yes,
Right.
yes.
Like, why do we have to end this? I don't know.
Right. But thank you so much for just saying yes. Like, we're so thankful to
Oh my
have
gosh.
you here.
Thank you guys.
Absolutely. Yes, you
Most
are so
definitely.
I always tell Lisa, I'm like, we've never met in person, but you can feel somebody's energy. And
Yes.
I can tell, like, she is just a super kind, beauty plus kind.
There you go.
Thanks, girl.
Yes.
Thank you. I feel the same
To
way.
the T.
Back
To
at
the
you.
T.
Gorgeous.
Completely.
So thank you so much for coming on our show.
Yes.
Yes,
Thanks
most
for having me.
definitely. Thank you, everyone. Stay tuned, because who knows who will be on here next on Behind the Beauty. And of course, we love to hear from you in terms of who you want to see. And we stay connected to our guests. So if there are any other pressing questions, we are a message away. And as you just heard, Lisa and Paul, they are there for you. Okay.
Yes.
So if you have to reach out to them about whatever you encounter,
Yes. Happiness guaranteed is our return policy. Like,
Yes.
we will, that is what we care about. So
Yep.
Love
most
it.
definitely. Thank you, everyone. Have a great rest of your evening.
Bye.
Bye.